Okay, here we are backstage, and I'm seeing double. Is it Lauren or is it her shadow? It is Sharptooth, and she survived another day on the Warped Tour. Phoenix is like a furnace. I mean, catch your breath.
Yeah, this was legitimately the hardest show I think I've ever done in my life. It was hot. There was blood. This is my own blood.
That's not makeup?
No, this is, I cut my hand during our set. I have no idea how. And, you know, when opportunity arises, I mean, if you're going to bleed, you might as well wear it, right? Blood is the new contour.
That's it. Yeah, they'll be coming out with new makeup, just like your blood.
Exactly.
So, Baltimore.
Yes.
Is that where you grew up?
Yes.
Growing up in a city like that, you're in the shadow in New York and all of that, Philadelphia and all that. Talk about, you know, getting interested in music. Who were some of the artists, some of the shows you saw that said, I got to do this?
I think for me, so it's funny because speaking of Baltimore, the first show that I ever went to, like when I was like 13 years old, was a band called SR-71, who is a Baltimore-based like pop rock band. And I just remember being in that show and my mind being completely blown by what was happening.
So they said the hooks and bouncing around.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Energy and
immediately, 13-year-old me is bopping around in the mosh pit, having a great time. And I came home and I smelled like sweat and cigarettes, and it's like I never felt alive like that, especially like as like a young teenager. That was very formative for me. And then like later down the road, like heavier bands like Every Time I Die, their shows were what got me into playing hardcore music. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Now, how did you gravitate to the people in your band? How did you guys meet? And, you know, what do you look for in band members and putting them together?
Sharptooth was formed basically out of the ashes of a lot of other bands in Baltimore. We'd all the members have like known each other for a long time, and just like through the music scene, it's a pretty tight-knit music scene, and if you go to a lot of shows, you get to know everybody. And so we all got to know each other as friends, and then when our lead guitarist and rhythm guitarist Lance and Keith asked me to join, I was like, yeah, sure, let's do something. At the time, it was just like a side project for me. I had another band that I was in that was like my main thing, but it was starting to die down, and I really wanted to be writing heavier, more aggressive music, and Sharptooth gave me the opportunity to do that without being censored, and it was amazing. So.
Wow, you could just let it all out, not worry about holding anything back.
Exactly. It was, especially in a world like as. There's a lot of pressure placed on women in music to either act a certain way or talk about like certain things or not talk about certain things. And I was like, I want to be able to work with people who are going to let me express myself to the fullest. And I've never felt censored by Sharptooth. I've always felt like they have always, if I had a flame in me, they were the ones stoking it and blowing on it and pouring the gasoline on it to make it even bigger. It was fantastic. So it really was a fantastic artistic working relationship immediately. Mm-hmm. So.
Is this your first Warped Tour?
Yes. First Warped Tour, first time ever even playing a single date of Warped Tour. We've never even done like a.
Is that right? You
yep.
Didn't dip your toe in the pool?
We've never. It just never happened. And then, surprise, whole thing. So mutant stage.
Most of your travels have been the Northeast because all the cities are close by. You can play a lot of places without too many overnights.
Exactly. So in the first couple of years of the band, I booked pretty much everything, which like all of our tours, which I had no prior experience doing that. I just kind of was winging it, and I was like, oh, I know a lot of people. Let's get some shows going. So Northeast was where we were going around for a couple of years, and then we landed our first big full U.S. tour back in January with AntiFlag and Stray from the Path and the White Noise, which was unbelievable. And then we hit Canada with Census Fail, and now it's Warped Tour. So it's just been kind of like ramping up exponentially over this past year. It's been amazing.
You know, when you go out with a band like AntiFlag, what do you learn from that?
Oh my God, everything. That for that being our first full U.S. tour, we were so spoiled, not in a bad way though, but by the love and the care and the hard work that those bands all showed the tour and showed each other, and everybody just took care of each other. And I think that's one of the most important things is like you take care of your people. Not everyone's going to have a great day every single day. There's going to be problems that happen on the tour. There's going to be there's going to be things that arise that you need to deal with. And every person on that tour really hustled and took care of each other and just grinded. And I mean, those are some of the most outspoken bands in music today. And being an outspoken band like us, it was, I think, a very good introduction to what touring life was going to be. While also being surrounded by a community of like-minded people who our politics are similar, and we'd have all these great conversations. It was amazing. It was truly amazing. So,
a lot of people always assume that it's this competition and there's winners and losers on the show. No. But really, you want the whole show to rock.
Absolutely.
People figure out their favorites and all that.
Sure, yeah.
Natural evolution.
Absolutely.
It's not like you're out to blow this band off the stage.
No. No.
Backstage.
Oh my gosh. By the end of the tour, every band was doing guest vocals with every other band. It was like a giant party every single night of just like us getting to celebrate each other's music and celebrate each other and enjoy being together. It was great. The last show of the tour, I think every member of that tour stage dove during AntiFlag's set, and it was incredible. People I've never seen, let alone circle pit, were jumping off the stage. It was amazing. It was so much fun.
Wow.
It was really that spirit of punk community was just embodied.
All for one for all.
Yes.
You know, hopefully inspiring some kids out there to start their own bands. And
oh, absolutely.
You know.
That's my favorite thing, especially is when like young women will come and talk to me and say like, I want to do that. I'm like, you can. Like, if that's the one thing that like, especially like a young girl would take away from our like band is that like there are heavy like women in music and you can do this. Like if I taught myself how to scream, anybody can do it. So.
And don't ask. You know, just do it.
Exactly.
Don't wait and.
Yes.
You know, they're not going to call you. You got to go show and prove.
Exactly. Yeah. It's funny because we'll still get like people come up. They're like, "Oh, we saw you walk on the stage," and we're like, "Oh no," because they're like, "Oh, it's going to be some girl band." I'm like, yeah, this is a girl band. This is what a girl in a band sounds like. It's heavy and it's aggressive and it's brutal, and that's what girls can be. Like that is, you know, we don't need to be defined by any one particular thing. I can be aggressive and brutal, and I can also be like cute and feminine. Like we can be all things. Let's stop putting each other in boxes.
Yeah. How do you take care of your voice? Because obviously screaming every night can do damage to the vocal cords. So what do you do to prepare or, you know, take care to soothe the voice after?
So for me, the biggest thing, since I do a type of screaming for the most part that's called fry screaming, and the cool thing about it is it's using almost like a different part of your vocal cords than where you would talk and sing from. So it's not the screaming. I can all day. That's not going to hurt my voice. It's yelling over bands, trying to talk to my fans type of thing. That's what I have to be really careful about, and I have to make sure that I'm taking breaks from being out in the loud like parts of Warped Tour, making sure that I'm having other people talk for me when it's unnecessary. Like, I love to get to talk and connect to my fans, but I don't need to be the one screaming, yo, can we get a shirt? Yo, can we get a picture? Like, I have my other humans take care of that vocally for me, which like, and they're so happy to take up the slack because, yeah, I can't be yelling over people.
Yeah. Now, on the road, obviously, you got your 25, 30, 45 minutes on stage. Mm-hmm. How do you delegate all the tasks and duties and operate like a family or a business or, you know, a gang, you know, delegation of duties and people wearing multiple hats? It's
like our band, like I give them so much credit because they bust their asses, and everybody is very good at, you know, again, like not everyone's gonna have a great day at like picking up the slack for other people, especially like making sure that everyone's taken care of is like the most important thing. Making sure that like the day-to-day things, like making sure, did everybody eat? Has everyone drank enough water? Can we go get some waters? Like that kind of thing. Making sure that like everyone's being like taken care of physically and then also mentally and emotionally, like just checking in with each other. Like, how are you feeling? Are you okay? I think, especially in like heavy music, I don't know how much of that happens because there is kind of like a stigma about talking about your feelings, but we're a very touchy-feely band. We're a very talk about your emotions type of band, and that's super important for us all to be checking in with each other. I can't speak highly enough of my bandmates for their ability to do that. Especially, you know, I'm kind of small. It's hard for me to do a lot of like the heavy lifting of stuff. For me, it's important to figure out where are the places that I can pitch in.
Right.
So.
Yeah, there's multiple tasks, and it's not about moving boxes and
Exactly.
amps and all that. Now, tell us a little bit about the process of writing a song. You know, you're talking about the touchy-feely, the ideas, the politics on that.
Yeah.
Did a lot of ideas start with a lyrical, like an idea, start with a riff, or you combine the idea with the riff?
It's kind of a combination. So Lance is pretty much perpetually writing and sending me song ideas. And I'm always, I write every day, and I write a lot of poetry and a lot of lyric ideas too. So that I'm pretty much always jotting down. And sometimes I'll figure out, he'll send me a song and I'll be like, oh, I have the perfect concept for this song. And I'll go back through some of my lyrics. I'll be like, oh, that's a good hook. And then I start building a song around it usually. Spend a lot of time in my car playing songs on repeat and screaming to it and just writing and then rewriting and rewriting. So yeah, there's sometimes a song will come out in a day and I'll be like, that's the song. And then there's sometimes a song will take months. And it's like, it really just depends on the content and where I'm at emotionally and what I want to be doing with the song, like kind of where I'm trying to go with it. So
is it like a consensus? Everybody got to be happy with it, or as long as you're happy with it, you can tuck it away? And people give each other leeway?
Yeah, so like usually what I'll do is like when I start figuring out like lyrics, once I kind of have an idea of a song, we'll bring it to practice, and me and Lance will kind of like show it to the guys, and then they can take their parts of the song and they can kind of make it their own. And that's when we start playing with things and making it into a cohesive like thing for the band and not just a me and Lance thing.
Right.
And that's where I think
hammered in the shade, everybody puts their 2 cents in.
Exactly. Basically, like it's like me and Lance show up with like a bunch of the Legos put together, but everybody fleshes out all the details that make it into a Sharptooth song. So, so yeah.
Awesome. Now, tell us about the latest album.
So our most recent record that just came out on Pure Noise Records back in October is called Clever Girl, and it is out now. And I love this album. I love it. It's my first full-length album that I've ever done with a band, and the fact that it has a platform like Pure Noise is unbelievable. That's beyond anything I ever expected. It's literally my dream label. And it talks about a lot of socio-political issues focused through my own personal experiences. It's like a lot of people are like, oh, it's like the political feminist album. And it's like, it's basically like, that wasn't really like the aim. It's really just about like what it's like existing in the world as me. And like some of that is very political, and some of that it like does have a lot of very like feminist themes because I'm a woman existing in the world. So there are a lot of very global subjects in it that I think will reach. There's something in it for everybody, absolutely, for sure. But like, yeah, we talk about a lot of queer rights issues. We talk about systemic injustice. Basically, our thing is we want that marginalized voices to be heard, regardless of your age, your gender, your sexuality, your race, your religion, your ability. Like, we want somebody to be able to find something in that record for them. So yeah, that's what I'm screaming about.
Right, magnify the voices of those that aren't heard.
Exactly. And there's so many people out there who, especially in heavy music, don't feel represented because for decades it's basically been like a straight white dude game, which is great. Like there's most of my favorite bands, it's a bunch of straight white dudes. Like I love hardcore music, and I mean if I had a problem with straight white dudes, I wouldn't be in this genre.
In different shapes and sizes.
Exactly. And it's so important. I see so many girls at our shows who like are looking at me, and it's like for the first time they feel represented in a heavy band. And there's someone up there talking about what it's like to be a woman. And they've never heard that being screamed at them before over chuggy breakdowns. And that is such a huge deal, especially for so many young people. Like I wish that I had a band like Sharptooth when I was like growing up, and bands talking about like what it's like to exist in the world like me. So I'm hoping this encourages some of these young people to go out and keep it going, because my experience is not the only experience. Like I'm a little queer Jewish girl, but like there's so many other people whose voices we need in heavy music, and I hope that they're encouraged to go out and start their own bands and start screaming.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now, did you have any mentors to kind of hip you to how brutal the work there is, like outdoor all summer?
Oh my gosh.
All day, drive all night, no sleep. I mean, did anybody like school you? We
have been very fortunate in that so many bands have taken us under their wing and like given us their blessing. Bands like Straight from the Path kind of like told us how it was going to be. AntiFlag did the tour last year. Same with War on Women, who are good friends of ours. And right before we left, I went to pick up tents from War on Women, and they were like, "We're going to crash course you in Warped Tour in 10 minutes right now. Let's go." I'm like, "All right, guys, I'm here for this." And it's been great because our driver actually for the tour is AntiFlag's driver, so he's done the tour last year. So he knows a lot. He's basically been kind of acting like as like a second tour manager for us because he really knows the ins and outs of the tour. He's taken great care of us. His name is Zach, and he's absolutely wonderful. Yeah. So.
I know you say you love Pure Noise. What makes them a great label? What do you look for in a label?
Diversity. Like they have artists of all different kinds of genres and genders, which is awesome. I think that they truly understand the pulse of what's necessary and relevant and incredible in art right now. I'm so biased because like all of my favorite bands are on Pure Noise, basically, like Stick to Your Guns and Counterparts and Knocked Loose. All of these bands have been formative in, you know, a lot of my music. And so getting to actually share a record label with like these bands that like I've been looking up to for years is absolutely incredible. And they really push us to be us. They don't push us to fit in a box. They push Sharptooth to be Sharptooth to its fullest extent.
They're trying to accentuate what you are.
Yes.
And not try to.
Oh, and they don't censor us at all, which is wonderful. And I mean, like, there's people who might consider us to be like a controversial band. I personally don't think that we're controversial, but like they embrace that with us, and I think that that's really beautiful. That they're just like, you be you, and we're just gonna help you do it the best way that we can. And I think that that's what a record label should be.
Sure.
Yeah.
And in closing, obviously you've gained a lot of experience on how to do this. You've learned from others. You're still learning every day like today. But
yep.
What are a couple of tips you instill in young creative people coming up? Because, you know, this is not a big party on the road. This is not a get-rich-quick business. It's not what they think it may be, or, you know, some delusion like somebody's going to do all the work for you.
Oh, my God.
School them.
Just be honest with yourself and be honest with the people around you. I think that that's seriously the biggest thing that you can do in this industry, especially in an industry where historically has been like so shrouded in like mystique and like bullshit and posturing. Just be you. People can see authenticity, and that's what people want. So when you are getting on a stage and you're giving your most authentic self, or you're writing a song and you're giving your most authentic self, that will resonate with somebody. And honestly, like, dude, the grind is hard. There's a lot of luck. Make friends. Make friends with everybody. So yeah. Yes. I mean, that's like one of the places that I excel in the band, is that I'm just friendly and I just want to be friends with everybody and get to know everybody. Treat each individual person like an individual person and seek to understand them. And I think that when you meet minds with understanding and empathy, then you're going to get pretty far just in life in general. So yeah.
Lauren, it's been great talking to you.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy the tour.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.